I was just making like a stupid joke, like don't use drugs and don't like join the army. No, don't join the army.
Well, I mean, you can do what you want, but you know.
See, now I'm messed up. I guess. Discard that, guys. All right. When you're ready.
I'm still rolling. I wanted to get. I see. You said you wanted natural. I gave you natural.
You got me, Savvy.
I did.
Welcome to another episode of Like Working Title. I'm here with a great guest, Meridith. Meridith is awesome. She's a bartender at Library Bar, which is a bar I frequent, like drunk off my ass all the time in East Village. She's great. I've known her for years. I've known you since like you bartended like in Doc Holliday's. Like,
yeah, so that's probably like good 6-7 years.
Yeah. It's kind of weird when time flies though, where you're just like, you know, like you come in as like, oh, you're a bartender, great, you know, buy a beer, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, great, like, you know, I'm telling you my problems, or you know all my shitty ticks, you know, or like vice, or I know when you're just like, I'm not having it, you know, and all that stuff. So yeah, I always thought like being a bartender is like unique. In a sense that it's like, there's like three things in New York City, like being a priest or something, or being like a therapist or a bartender, where it's like, it's almost confessional, where it's just like, I have to, you know, like people tell you their problems, even if you don't want to hear them.
They do.
They want to talk to you,
yeah.
You know, because you're a bartender, you know.
You're a stranger.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of forced.
Yeah.
to listen, you can only go so far.
Right.
You know, you eventually have to come back.
It's like an altar too, because you're behind, like,
yeah.
you know.
I definitely like taking a seat and like put my head back and like, go on.
Right.
Go on. Tell me what happened today.
Right.
So.
Right. So how is it like? How do you like enjoy that, or do you like it when people actually tell you their shit?
That really depends. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been doing this since I was 19, on and off. So I feel like my threshold for it in the beginning wasn't very big, and then I got bigger, and then as I get older, my filter kind of goes away, and I'm just like, just tell me if you want to fucking drink or not. I can't be the answer to everything, but once in a while there is a beautiful moment of where I'm like, yeah, I got all the time in the world. You got to 4 a.m. Let's talk.
For example, like.
I'll tell you one where I wanted to avoid, but I ended up talking it out with this guy. He came in and it was a sad story. He, you can just tell when people need you. And I give him a beer and the bar's slammed, and he's just like apologizes up front. He's like, I might misbehave a little bit, and it's always, that's a big fucking red flag right there. I might misbehave. I'm going through some shit right now, and every time I walked past him, he just kept striking up another conversation, and he just looked really sad. And usually they start off with, how was your day? I was like, oh, my day was pretty good. How was yours? And they go, well, and you go, oh, fuck. You know, you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
And what ended up, his story was so upsetting is that, I'm going to bum everybody out right now.
Go there. I mean, you know.
His cousin and his cousin's wife got into a horrible car accident, and she was 8 months pregnant, and they saved the child. And that was about it.
Oh, so
and he was in mourning over that.
Oh.
And so I sat down after that, and I gave him more time. Let him kind of talk it out. Gave him a shot, and he was on his way.
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing about being a bartender. It's like that healing factor where it's just like, you know what, yeah. I mean, there's alcohol, but, you know, even alcohol, like, being under the influence, you know, like, getting away from, like, your perception of reality and just, like, you know, entering, like, a, you know, another vibe, you know, just to get out of that, you know? I mean...
People don't want to be alone, but they also don't want to be... It's this bizarre factor of... We go to bars by ourselves sometimes. Because we can't stand being alone, but we also don't really want to talk to anybody else except for maybe that one person.
I'm kind of that guy, yeah.
Objective.
Yeah.
We're not always objective. Yeah, we do judge you a lot.
Yeah, you have to,
we try to stay out of it, but yeah, I think my favorite conversations are where I can just be completely honest about relationships. If there's a guy or a girl complaining about, what do I do? I'm stuck in this thing, and I'm like, come on, stop being an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, get over it. Pull yourself up.
Right.
Have another drink. Shut the fuck up. There are more people out there. Life is not fair. So what? You know, and then send them on their way.
You sound like a coach, man, like a great coach. Like it just.
I can be.
Come on, kids, you know, let's rally up the troops.
Come on, get it together,
your shot,
man.
get out there. Yeah. All right, guys. This next performer coming up right now, he's a good friend of mine. I haven't seen him for years. Very funny guy. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the comic stylings of Jacksun Yung. Yeah! Oh.
Hello, Brooklynites and environs.
So you've seen me like pretty much drunk like a couple of times now, right?
A couple?
Yeah, alright, most of the time probably. It's probably the first time like sober we talked in like the day probably. I've talked to you like kind of sober.
Well, when the sun's been up, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you see me like gradually deteriorate. And you also see me probably sober up kind of too.
You never really lose it though.
Mhm.
You're kind of like out of the kids that you run with.
The Warriors, guys. Yeah.
They are. You kind of hold it the most together. I feel like you're the least confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw one girl go after you one time because she just didn't want you to talk to her.
Oh. Okay.
She was kind of.
Yeah. Well, what happened there? Do you remember? Or just
God!
Was this a dox or like?
You made a joke about. You just made a joke to her.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to like loosen her up because she was just sitting there, just like sitting forward, like into her drink and not talking. And you're a sociable guy.
Yeah.
So you made some crack at her, and then she made up a story about her, like her dead father.
Oh.
And started screaming at you, and you were like, ah!
right.
Ran to the other side of the bar. I don't know what I did to upset her. I don't know. I'm sorry. And you were like,
I like how I ran. Like, oh no, she's gonna explode.
like, I broke it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't you.
Well, you can probably tell too. You can probably tell when it's that person or it's not that person too. And it's like, yeah.
Exactly.
Because
You just picked the wrong one.
Yeah, I think with me with drinking though, like I don't get people drink for different reasons, you know. Like I drink to like, oh, you know what, this is sociable. I want to have a good time because like I feel like my life is such a fucking mess and such a weird thing. I feel like, oh, this is like you're supposed to hang out and drink and like who gives a shit, you know?
Big way to like calm down.
Yeah, not calm down, but just like it's it's just a drink. It's just like you're hanging out, you're like. I mean, life is ephemeral, like we're all gonna be, gone sooner or later, so why not just enjoy the moment, just like, there's that element with like drinking where it's like, it's either victory or defeat, you're just saying like, I'm still alive, by killing myself without,
I don't feel like you ever really go over the top. Like you have like 2 beers at most when you're there.
Yeah, after a night of
more like a social
12 beers like other
for you.
places, yeah.
Yeah, well, I only see it for 2. So
Yeah,
I have no
exactly.
idea. But you are a happy drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good though, because I like, you know what? Do you think you see that sometimes where it's like someone who's a happy drunk, who's like, or happy drinker, who's like a miserable person in real life? It's like a sad, like an Eeyore type, is just like, man.
Yeah.
But then when you drink, you're like, cool.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Have you seen the other side too, with like...
Oh, the switch gets flipped?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we call it. Just like that light switch.
That's scary,
just
man.
happens.
Yeah, like they're happy in real life, like, hey, how's
and
it going?
they get fucking dark.
Those are the scary ones. Those guys are fucking happy running around.
I
Like,
had one of those on Tuesday.
Was that the guy?
That was the guy.
Okay, so we were talking like... the other day at library, there was this like Nosferatu looking guy. He's wearing all black. I think he had like jet black hair, like almost like the Eddie Munster type thing going. He basically looked like a Misfits reject, right? I don't know if he'll see it. I don't know his name. Whatever.
If you slapped a little bit more white collar on that, I think that's,
Right.
yeah.
And I remember like that night. And this was right before I left. Christian, right? He's the bar back. Really cool guy. He's like one of these
Wonderful
guys.
person.
He's like one of these guys that looks like who's that guy again? He's like married to Angelina Jolie.
Brad
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe I forgot his
I
name.
can see that, yeah.
Who's that guy, Yeah, but he's got that, like, like, hey, I'm a tough bro, but, I look handsome, but I'm sensitive to your cause,
Yes.
that type of thing. So when you were just like, talk to that guy, and he was just like, hey, man, but it's like, I gotta go see him. I was like, oh, man, because he actually sat down with him. I was like, oh, this is like,
he never, there's, I think, one occasion where we've worked together in, God, 3 years that he's ever had to put his hands on somebody who will always try to negotiate.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing because you're talking to somebody that's on a completely different platform.
Yeah.
They're not even there anymore. They are just like a vacant lot of just dark thoughts and other things that are happening. They're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Lights are on, everybody's on.
Well, that's what I mean with that guy. So, like, So that guy was like, I saw him last time, before I left, I saw him talking to him. And I think I even, for some weird reason, I even offered myself, like, hey, do you need help? I think I was at that
moral support. Yeah. No, we got him out there, and then I think he just laughed to himself, said a few words to himself, and then just stared in the window of Library Bar with a half grin on his face, like staring at you.
Staring at anything?
No, just me.
Just you?
Just me.
Outside the bar?
Yeah.
So when he got kicked out, he just
just stood outside the bar and stared, made my skin crawl. Like, he turned into Ted Bundy.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing too about like I hate to bring the gender issue up though, but like it is a reality where it's like being a female bartender is always a bunch of like stupid, skeevy guys thinking, hey, I could right?
Yeah.
She gets me. She wears all black.
Nice to me. I mean, she's paying attention to me, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a petting zoo. Don't touch me. Like we've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
3 feet of wood in between us. There's no reason for you to just come over the bar.
Right,
which is why I have people like Christian, who's, behind the bar with me a lot.
Yeah, he's a sweet guy, man. Yeah. Well, they're all pretty cool. Like I forgot, was the long-haired guy with the
Jerry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing too. Like that I do. Like I'm pretty much trying to be friends with bartenders and barbacks so I could get the benefits. Like even if you act too stupid, they'll be like, well.
Oh my God, it's just she's having a day.
Yeah.
Just Todd.
Yeah.
Let's all get naked. Let's go to the commune. Organics, water, fresh water. That's all it's about. It's all like tension and hate, and that they just get like off the grid and before the next Sandy hits. You love your gadgets. Like he just lit me up with his gadget. Like I got my surveillance phone. Do you see me? Oh, look at. Then
Are there aspects of like bartending or just like that you just tired of and you just like hate?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy bartending?
I do. I feel like sometimes I want something a little bit more calm. Like last Tuesday what we were talking about, there was just like madness happening, and it's true about full moons. It is very true.
Yeah.
But everybody was just off their rocker and intense and just going overboard and just needing so much of you. And you understand this, like with what we do.
Well, being a comic too, like dealing.
You give a lot of yourself,
Yeah.
and then on top of it, I have to bartend. Some days I don't want to leave my apartment afterwards.
Right.
I'll go on Grubhub just to avoid talking to someone on the phone.
Yeah.
To get my food, I will not want to leave my apartment.
So have you had this? Because I'm sometimes like that too, where I'm like, I just want to be quiet. Like after like.
Absolutely.
Because you're dealing with so many people, and you just want to be at home and just be like, all right, shutting off.
Yeah.
Just want to zone out.
I'm just checking out.
Yeah, like I'm so quiet actually. Like I'm a kind of like a weird person to live with for a roommate because like I'm just so quiet, just so like not detached, but just like like almost like an alien, just like floating. Because I just like I
have days of where I just don't really talk.
Yeah.
I'll text and kind of like people are like, "You all right, man?" I'm just like, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Because you just gotta like deal with people. Like it's almost like crowd control and just like.
It is. It's a lot of people with happy news, sad news. They're pushing stuff on you, and you're trying your best to be pleasant and cordial. And sometimes that filter just goes, and you're exhausted.
Yeah.
People are exhausted.
Yeah. How about positives? Like good. Like besides the money though. Like have there been like a magical night?
Yeah.
Just,
like the people. Some of the people that have walked in there and become some of my greatest friends. Working with other artists that kind of come in there too. I mean, How I Met You and things like that. I mean, I love my coworkers, my boss. Like I've never had a problem with going into, like a night shift and working with somebody else and being like, oh fuck, I gotta work with them. It's never been the case with that. I hang out with all of my coworkers outside. It's a bar that's run by women.
Yeah.
And so it's very, powerful in that aspect. And
keep it relevant. Meta moment. Mark making that guy's depressing. It's all right though. You gotta talk about it. All right. I still get jealous. Daydream, James Dean, look in your eyes. DJ mashup.
You have to deal with like public all the time. Like even you being a bartender, also an actress, and me being like a comedian. This is like, you just want your own fucking alone time.
Of course.
Right.
I mean, I've even played with the idea of like, maybe I should go back to school and become a nurse, and just something that I, of course, still dealing with the public, still, you know, having that contact, but when I go home, my day's done. And that's it.
So what made you like say, no, fuck that, I don't want to be a nurse, I'll continue doing what I want to do?
Because I love being on stage. I love reading scripts. I love, you know, working with people that are like that are just so I go to the theater, like, I try to go like every week, every 2 weeks to see a new piece off Broadway or Broadway. I love being around that. It inspires me. You know.
Well, it's been like, have you been performing since you were younger, like as a kid, or just like?
I wanted to get into acting, and I was actually too scared to tell my parents I wanted to do it. I mean, we had, you know, we went to a public school where there wasn't a lot of funding for the arts, but my mom always encouraged us.
Yeah.
So she, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, but what she would just try to scrounge together enough money for us to have some piano lessons or ballet classes. My sister went on to actually study to become a concert pianist for a while. And so we grew up around that element, which I'm forever grateful for.
Public school kids are the best kids, man.
Yeah.
Or the worst kids. But when they apply themselves.
I think it was a good mix of both for me. I got a lot better when I got to college and studied. I actually didn't study until I got there.
You mean you never studied like period until you got to?
Not really. I mean, we did like a senior class play or a musical every year in high school, and I always did it. You know, I was in pit band. I played slide trombone for a little bit. Yeah, but it wasn't until I didn't really get any formal training until my undergrad. And that's where I was like, this is where I belong. This is what I want to do. And also, I think it was the first time that somebody told me that I was good at something. Or that they kind of believed in me and backed me up.
What was the context of that? Was that like
Well, actually, no. Let me backtrack. My first experience was in high school. There was a public speaking competition. And it's the nation's longest running oratory competition. Just the nation, like everywhere. My grandmother tried out for it, my grandfather, my mom, all my aunts and
They all tried
uncles,
out?
all my cousins. I have a big Irish family. Like I got like 32 first cousins. Too fucking huge, man. Everybody tried out for it, and I was the only one that won in my entire family. And my parents were like, thank fucking God she's good at something, because I was a C+ kid. Like, thank God for direction. And that's what kind of made me go, maybe I should try acting for real. And that's where, I went to college. And it wasn't, I had a professor that really took a shining to me. And that encouraged me and pushed me. And by the time I was in my junior year of college, I was performing at the Kennedy Center. So.
Yeah, I love your like trajectory. I love your narrative. It's like, you know, it's like like a work.
I like yours.
yeah. Well, you know what I mean. I know it sounded kind of like, oh, you know, but I mean, like you're a working class kid. I could relate to that. You know, like you know, and you have like big dreams and big thoughts, and like a lot of the industry is like a bunch of rich kids. You know, people, and that's why
I've met a few. Yeah.
And I think that's the problem too. You know, I feel like a lot of that's why there's a lot of crap because like. They don't have those experiences. They don't have like I feel like you have those experiences that are like almost like intrinsically American, but also universal. Where it's like I could totally relate to that. Like isn't it as a black kid from Brooklyn where you're like you fucking hate your high school or whatever. It's like bullshit, and then you're just like wow, I found something that like I'm actually pretty good at.
Yeah. And
that people like say, oh man,
they're encouraging you. It's the first time in my life ever where I grew up in a small town where the arts really weren't funded or looked upon as like a positive or thought of as a profession. Yeah. Which is funny because Williamstown Theater is, 2 towns away. You would think that would have some sort of, pull in the Berkshires where I grew up, but it was very white collar, which I love, but very kind of closed-minded. There wasn't a lot of like gays or lesbians that were out. There wasn't anything beyond a lot of white. And, it was very just, people still had Confederate flags, and I was like, we won.
Yeah, here in Massachusetts.
I know.
In Massachusetts.
Yeah.
That's like the opposite opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Know. It was like
Massachusetts.
the ultimate rebel.
Yeah.
You know?
You're an ultimate dumbass. Yeah.
But I mean, that wasn't everybody. That was not everybody.
Just the dumbasses, basically.
I mean, I still love going home and seeing everybody. I mean, there are some amazing, beautiful people that I grew up with.
Can I ask you something though? Like, are your parents are supportive? They are, right?
They are.
But before that, like when you told them like, oh, I'm going to go into acting and like.
I think my mom really loved it because she always wanted to be an opera singer. And she had a beautiful voice still. And my parents are social workers, retired social workers, literally raised by social workers.
Yeah. Man, you were trouble.
I know. I could not get away with shit. But I'm sorry, what was the question again? It's just
No, basically, like so your mother was supportive, and how about your dad? Though?
Yeah, I think my father just wanted me to have something more stable. You always want the best for your kids. You want to encourage them, but you want them to be like, you don't want to have to worry about them having money or struggling. You don't want them to struggle. You want them to just have like kind of a straightforward job and just. So the arts are hard.
Yeah. Well, I think when because I relate to because like I was raised by my grandparents and like my grandma specifically, and like. The funny thing about her is like she's like this old Haitian. She's a old Haitian woman now. Yeah. But she came from like such a she had money over there. Like my great grandmother had like land and shit, but then like the dictatorship came out and then everything got lost. She ended up being like a cafeteria lady here. So she's just like, ugh, like everything. And I remember like. There'd be like comedy or like some comedy thing like on TV. Like when you're a kid, you're like, oh wow, check this out. Look what I'm watching. This is funny. It's like comedy. It's the stupidest thing in the world. Comedy.
What did you want to get into that? Like just wanting to make people laugh, or?
You know what? I think as a kid, like as a small kid, I was always like sort of entertaining and like and kind of positive, but like. I had like some fucked up it is like this a dark Paul in my family, just a dark like I remember like there's like I think like a Thanksgiving or something like that where like I think we were visiting like some other family members or like friends and their friends there too, and I was just being all like, hey, I'm being funny and charming, and I think I had like an uncle who was just like, stop, stop, what's wrong with you? I'm like, dude, I'm fine, I'm just trying to be cute and funny.
Just
what are you doing?
And
like, thanks for the reality check at like 5.
Oh,
there it
I
is.
hated those.
Yeah.
Like how outgoing and crazy I used to be, and then somebody was like, stop being an asshole.
Yeah.
I was like,
And usually those guys are like the worst fuck ups too, because he was like a crackhead schizophrenic, and like, oh, finally you're loose enough to say stop being happy. Just my fucking luck.
Just snuff out that light a little
Exactly.
bit. Thanks.
And I just fucking eat it, like eat all that, like literally, like I was like a fat kid, so I was just like,
Emotional eating.
Yeah.
That's alright.
Oh, were you raised Catholic? Because you said you were like from Irish.
Yeah.
I was raised Catholic too.
Very
Yeah.
Catholic.
So food is like the biggest like, sort of like, shove it down with food.
Oh my god, funerals? That was catered.
Oh, they love funerals are like, yay!
I'm surprised they have balloons.
Yeah.
It was the only time all of us hung out and just ate.
Catholics are like the most goth. It's the goth religion. It really is. Like of all the variants of Christianity.
Hymnings and keep your head down. Yeah. Don't look at anybody. And
wear black. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like there's like almost no difference between like the dark side and the light side of Catholicism. It's almost like it's more dark side than light side.
Living unless you're suffering, and you're born with sin. You're fucked on all levels. I mean, the idea of like always being forgiven is a lovely idea, and everybody's accepted and welcome. Not in my church.
You ever get jealous of those Pentecostal kids who are just all like, I'm just dancing.
I do, actually.
Just like dumb.
Yo, they're so happy.
Yeah. And just like dumb happy. Or it's almost like all the stupid like rules where it's like, hey, like, gays can't marry, blah, blah. And you're like, well, that's not, but they're so happy and dumb with it. Just like, I don't know.
Actually, really, my father was, or still is, Protestant. And, my grandmother didn't talk to my mom.
Are you both Irish?
My father's Russian.
Oh, okay, so, because your last name,
Nicholaev.
Yeah.
So, father's side is Russian, Protestant, but they're like Catholic light, like Diet Catholic, like half the guilt. And so they accept everybody.
Right.
And they're like, they're happier, They do like the cute Easter, plays and everything. Everybody's a little bit cheerier.
Well, they're Irish. I feel like the Irish are kind of like the happier Catholics of the Catholics because like they still have their like they still have their culture, that pagan.
I hate to say that.
Do they?
I hate to say it's due to drinking, but these stereotypes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is your family like heavy drinkers?
No, just me.
Just you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like you were interviewing me a little bit.
It's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about you.
I'm curious about myself too. So.
Jeffrey Ross, like, he just looked at me and said, Chang! And he was waiting for a response. I stone-faced it. He's like, and he stormed off the stage. I didn't know what that xenophobia was. I thought we'd get along, Jew Chinese. All right.
Jacksun Yung, guys.
Like my nephew is Jewish Chinese.
Jacksun Yung.
Eat it. That's who that. Who
Thank
that?
you, Jackson. Yeah.
That's right.
What's up, man? Yeah.
He approves. It's
I
like,
want to give you
okay.
that. Can we do
I
it?
didn't even say the N-word, did I? I'm supposed to, because I got niggery lips, he's got cheeky eyes.
Come
Let's all
on.
get together. Yeah,
Come
your
on,
mother.
Jackson.
Hmm?
Oh, yeah.
Your neighbor's complaining.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
we at? I like this
Jackson,
ceiling.
man. How's it going,
I'm
man?
obsessed with this ceiling. I need help with my ceiling.
No, thanks again, man. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I haven't seen you in mad
We're
long,
going
though.
breasts. We're going breasts. All
We're
right.
getting old, Jackson. We're getting old.
I'm starting Fu Manchu. Like this.
You know, I grow that too, but like I just have like poor facial hair growth.
That's because you're Asian blood. Underneath your naked, I have to overcompensate.
Can you tell them that?
You
So I can,
Neanderthals! You got a couple of white-looking people. I know you got like white blood too. You got everything. You got everything. You're American.
Hey,
right?
Jackson. Yeah, Jackson. So what was the last time I saw you? I think I saw you like at like. Did I see you at 7-Eleven?
Amerigo Vespucci.
That's.
What? Doctor said, yeah, next stop.
Was I being
Next stop the other way.
Was I being too American
Sorry.
Vespucci? My bad, man. My bad. No, but I'm just saying, like, did I see you at like 7-Eleven like the other day or something? Like it was like a couple months ago. No?
I don't know.
Or I thought or was it a dream? I don't know. Like, man, you're like the type of guy like I can meet in reality or in my dreams. I can't tell the difference. You know?
Yeah, keeping it one with the people.
Right.
you know.
Right. How's it going,
Knowing
dude?
myself.
Why am I talking black with you? How's it going, man? How's it going? You doing alright?
I know because I teach you. It's crazy. He really is.
Yeah.
We always talk about that. Not really. You know, try to hold on. You know.
Right.
Trying not to be a creature of habit, but you tend to be, you know. Hence the ladies. Be gone. If you want to stay away, I don't care. I figured out ways to just get by.
Right. Well, Jackson, man, thank you again, man. You know, I'm glad thank you for like coming down and like.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's therapy, comedy therapy.
Right.
Anything else? That was it, right?
Yeah,
Social
yeah.
racist, not good. Okay, world. It's all copywritten and all right. I didn't sign anything. All right.
That was Jacksun Yung. That's our show for tonight, guys. And hopefully you'll see the next one. All right, and we're out.
Your mother.